But anyway, as well, Harper, you mentioned about Lustig last week, and he was at fault for the goal to Maribor completely. I watched it several times, going like he was just daydreaming. Denier had his man covered, and Bohar just ran straight across Lustig, and Lustig watched him. And that was disappointing. I suppose like at that point I was like, Harper might have a point here with Lustig, because it was that split second when you switch off that.
But what do you mean I might have a point here? Lustig, he's my number one right back. What are you on about?
Did you not say you didn't fancy him?
No.
I'll have it back in a wee second just to make sure I'm taking that debate, because a wee sec.
Lustig's my first choice at right back.
I must have on the wrong show then. I thought Ambrose was your choice.
No, I think I said I didn't really think Matthews might have a future at Celtic because he might become the odd one out of three players for one position, and he's always injured. So no, Lustig's definitely my first choice at right back.
Alright, yeah, that's that conversation killed.
I can pretend if you want.
Let's just make it up with you, everything else. But I mean, you think as well tomorrow night with the place being packed. Obviously, it's going to be the added emphasis for players. All Ronnie Daly's got to say to them, like before they go out, is see what you're about to experience tonight. If you want more of it, go out there and win. You know, and I think that they'll all know that and they'll all see that, and that should be a massive incentive for them. And if they can't sort of up their game to that or live up to that.
And I'll tell you something else, Joe. With these signings coming in, right, 3 guys who we've not even seen yet. That's me counting the Serbian again. Like it certainly looks like we're going to get them. These guys are going to have to be looking over their shoulder as well, saying, "Look, if I want to keep playing in the Champions League for Celtic, I'm going to put a performance on you."
Yeah,
it isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well, of course, at the end of the day, we've all said after Inverness game the squad's not good enough, so he's perfectly entitled to bring in 3 or 4 new ones because some of the ones there just aren't good enough, and probably have been there too long. The likes of McGeoch and that, you know, and it's like, how long do they? I mean, you know, a long time since he scored that goal against St Mirren and things like that. It's like you've just never made a breakthrough, so it's probably best for all just to go, you know.
But I mean, yeah, McGregor's kind of overtaken him in the youth stakes in terms of coming through. But we all thought it was going to be McGeoch. We all thought he'd be the guy coming up because he did look as if he had the most promise. Then you get a guy like McGregor gets his chance under Dela and away he goes, you know. And McGeoch's kind of left for dead in that respect.
McGeoch's never kicked a ball since that time he got injured against Real Madrid.
They got his jaw broke.
Yeah. He went down to, I think it was Coventry last season. I think. I mean, I didn't follow what he was doing in there. I don't know how he got on or anything like that, but I don't know. He never done anything whatsoever in the game at the weekend. All right, he ended up at left back for a wee while, but I don't know. He's just a player who probably just needs to find himself another club now. It's hard to see where, like I'm saying, Pookie, you'd be lucky to get a Celtic jersey again, but the reality is they probably will just hang about their bench because, I mean, I don't know who's going to pick him up. We invested a few quid in him, like, I can't remember what the transfer fee was, but we'll not give him away, like, no. And I can't see anybody going to be breaking their door down to get him. He's maybe a kind of guy that you could send out on loan. Like Baldy, I see the club that we got him for is talking about wanting to bring him back and loan the Celtic for a percentage of his wages, which probably just as well doing because for him, like, you get a sniff of that team at the weekend. I think that says a lot about where his Celtic career's gone. Like,
aye, definitely.
Yep.
I guess I got to turn this.
I'm away to get another drink. Carry on, boys.
Thanks very much.
I was just going to bring up Baldy there now, going back to Portugal. So who else? Somebody's asking on Twitter. Let me just check it wasn't Twitter. Hold on. Evil Knievel. Who would you like to get rid of from the current squad? Jason, who would you like to get rid of?
Apart from the obvious ones we've just said, Pookie, Baldy and stuff like that.
Apart from Baldy, Baldy's on his way anyway.
I've kind of had it with Mulgrew, to be honest with you. I don't know. A decent utility player. But see, as a mainstay for the team and for a captain, nah, not for me. Not for me. I think he's average. I don't know. I don't know. But I think at the midfield, I think it needs a wee bit of bolstering. But if Kyle can keep putting the performances in, he'll do for me. But he's got to keep it up because he was worse than shite last season, but he's been brilliant at the start of the season, and nothing but praise for him. So he could be the player that we signed 2 years ago, and that to me is a hell of a bonus. James Forrest, I think the boy's brilliant, but just it's heartbreaking with injuries that he gets, and I just don't think he's ever going to be able to hold down a first team place. He will when he gets fit, and then he'll be in for 2-3 weeks, and then he'll be out again, and he is a game changer. He's a quality player, but nah, he's just a sick note. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the new guys and see what any of them have got. Your Barikters, your Pookie, your Baldy, they can all go as far as I'm concerned, you know. Viton, I don't know, I think he's not bad. I think he's decent enough. I think there's something there, and he deserves his chance, because he's kind of took it when he's sort of got a game. He was unlucky on Saturday, that one came off the bar. I think he's a pretty good player. But so the midfield, you've got Johansson, you've got Beaton maybe, you've got young McGregor, and you've got Kai Al. After that, well, Scott Brown obviously when he comes back in, bloody hell, forgetting Bruni.
Yeah.
So we've missed him big time.
Aye.
You know, we've missed him big time because he is the captain.
Yeah, I mean,
Get in there, Man City, 1-0.
David did mention as well that they bring Scott Brown along on the games anyway because he's an important character and an influence in the team.
Aye.
You know, in terms of attitude.
He's made an influence in the park. I can't wait till he's fit again.
Aye. So,
yeah. Don't know, Paul, what do you think with the midfield?
Aye, I mean, I think, take my hat off to Johansson, who's become the mainstay in 6 months, basically. Midfield is clearly lacking Brown, and to be honest with you, I'm quite happy to wait on Brown coming back fully fit rather than look at, you know, somebody coming in to replace him now, because I think he's got a lot to offer, he's got a lot of years left in him. He is our captain, and I like the look of a midfield with him and Johansson in it, because what Johansson's clearly done brilliantly this season is he's pressing higher up the pitch. You know, he's pickpocketing guys in the 18-yard line and stuff, and it's paying dividends. In terms of players to get rid of, one player I think we could lose and we could get money for is Adam Matthews, who I just think, again, is in the Forest category of good player, nothing against him, but he just always seems to be injured. And we seem to have a raft of right backs. We're not going to play the wing backs under the Dial system, and I think he's one we could lose. And clearly, obviously, the obvious ones, Barichter, Pookie, Baldy, they're never going to be Celtic players, and I would be paying agents as much as I could to get them off our books.
Well, but you bring up a good point there, Paul, because obviously Celtic, we've been built on, and we've spoken about here how the swashbuckling Celtic style is with attacking wing backs. It looks as if Dial is going to change all that. It looks as if the way this team's going to play is going to be totally different to what we've been used to and what we've been brought up with. I mean, I'm willing to embrace it, you know, but it's just going to be very strange if we haven't got your attacking wing backs bombing down the wing, because that's what we've seen over days, you know, since the days of Danny McGrain and that, when you were a kid going to watch Celtic. And it seems Chris Morris and well, the centenary year, and it's I don't know, is there places for Azagiri, and is there places for Azagiri, Matthews and things like that at full back? Because let's face it, Azagiri isn't the best defender in the world, but he's great at getting down that wing and getting a cross ball in.
No, I think you're right. I think that he is going to. I mean, Christ Almighty, he's buying wingers all over the shot, and Berger's been played out there, and Griffiths has been played out there. So he clearly always wants players to play wide, and because of that, then you're not really going to have too many overlapping full-backs, which obviously sort of became wing-backs in that kind of system. So therefore, you know, as Gary would be one we might be looking at thinking, you know, we maybe need somebody who's a bit more defensive-minded. But again, I think we'd probably all agree that sitting here this time next year, we'll probably see a completely different Celtic team. You know, for the one that's there right now. And right now, I would say that it would be a few players who are kind of fighting for their position, if you like, in their place in not just the team but the club, because I'm sure they'll not be short and getting rid of them if they didn't actually need them, especially if they can get money for them, like Azagiri, like Matthews, and places, people like that. Aye, and I'm willing to embrace the style. I mean, I think that, you know, in terms of the start of the season and the kind of Warsaw debacle, I don't think anybody was ever calling for Dial's head, or, you know, we were calling for him to be backed, and he looks like he's been backed a wee bit now. And clearly tomorrow is where it's at. I mean, you know, you win tomorrow, or you go through tomorrow, and if you're Ronnie Deila, you can just put the feet up and say, thank fuck for that, right, now let's get on with the job, you know what I mean? But, that's just where we are, isn't it? It's always going to be like this until something changes,
Where does, apologies if you've covered this when I was down the stairs there, but where does Biram Kayal come in then when you're talking about players who might be surplus to requirements? I mean, obviously, he's started well this season, the games he's played, but with Scott Brown coming back, Johansson's obviously going to be a first choice pick, and there, Scott Brown. I mean, where does Biram Kayal fall into that, do you think?
Me personally, if everybody started with a clean slate, Biram Kayal is like the first name in the team sheet for me with Deila now. So I don't think he'd be looking to shift Biram Kayal. And plus, if you're looking for a squad, we're only talking about we've had if we look for a squad, if you get an injury, do you know what I mean? You need more than 4 midfielders. So you want a core of like 6 midfielders ideally, and obviously it's tough to keep them all happy. But I'd say Biram Kayal must be in the manager's thoughts. Absolutely.
Well, if Biram Kayal can come back and be the Biram Kayal of old before he got that injury against the Huns, I mean, we're signing a new player. Like.
Aye, and we did speak about it. I've been delighted with him. If he can keep that form up, definitely different class. And just a totally different player for last season.
Are we looking at the possibility as well, if Craig Gordon keeps up, stays injury free, and have him probably one of the best keepers in Scotland if he regains his form?
I mean, see if Craig Gordon stays fit. I mean, I think he's already shown already. Somebody says he's pulled off. He's still a fucking top class goalkeeper. If he could stay injury free, you've basically picked up a £10 million goalkeeper for nothing.
Yeah. You probably get a better keeper than Foster.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's £10 million. I know, but I think it's early days.
It's early days,
Because it is obviously a couple of bad injuries, so I don't know. I'm not counting my chickens, but I've been more than happy.
The worrying thing though is
I've seen so far.
The worrying thing though is for me, right? If we go past this, if we go past the transfer deadline, right, and we're with Craig Gordon and Lucas Auska, and Craig Gordon does get injured, picks up a bad injury, and suddenly you're playing Champions League football with Lucas Auska as your goalkeeper. That's a scary thought. Like.
We seem to be getting the name Anders Lindegaard keeps coming up for a season-long loan, which I think, Harper, is one of the ones where it's like, well, if we win the loan, we'll take him. Right. Because for that exact reason that you just said there, you didn't go into the Champions League with fucking Lucas Auska in goals, that's for sure. So, you could easily do that. At the end of the day, I mean, the thing is, I liked what Deila said before the game on Saturday, where he said, where the guy says to him, what did you say to the players? And he said to them, why are you at Celtic? You're here because you're good players, so go out and show it. And, trying to push up this, I've got a really big squad. And, you didn't often hear managers saying that. You say, I've got a good squad, a lot of talented players here. Normally they go, I could do with 1 or 2, this, that, and next thing. So, I like the fact that he's there. He wants to try and instill the confidence, build the confidence, etc. We're very, very, very early on in his regime, but this Celtic team to me, especially if you win them on by September, October, we're going to be blowing teams away with the players that we've got and the attacking options that we're going to have. Solid defence. I mean. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Van Dijk, interview after the game, watch Champions League football. Well, we could game it tomorrow night, and suddenly he stays for another season. So then your defence is all right. Gordon stays well, he's fine, and then Brownie comes back, and then suddenly you've got the meetings there, a really good side. With the bonus of all these players that have come in that you've not even seen yet, and anything they do could be a bonus,
I think we desperately do need this striker though. Because you're going to be playing with wingers, right? Obviously, he's looking to play with wingers, but you've nobody to put the ball in the box to. So, I mean, there's nobody to hit with a cross in the box. Stokes, Griffiths, they're okay in there, but they're not going to be dominant against big centre-halves. So you definitely need that guy. I mean, Chris Sutton spoke about it at length on the weekend, and he's 100% correct. We definitely need that kind of player because you need to have that option. Because if you've not got that option, teams know then how to play, like, you know.
I mean,
it's like talking about that time when we beat Barcelona at Celtic Park, right? And Lennon was lauded for putting